We're back for your ears only. I'm Melissa Axelbarth.
I'm David Alpern with this quote from the news. The signs, the graphic pictures, they hurt us much more than they helped us. That was Elisa Martinez, Executive Director of Protect ABQ Women and Children, an Albuquerque pro-life group, after losing a municipal ballot measure to ban abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy. Also last week, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned an injunction against a new Texas law requiring abortion providers to have admitting privileges in local hospitals, not all that easy, and banning off-label use of abortion-producing pills, though many doctors say that's safer than following FDA directions. Now this.
We spent plenty of time one-on-one outside of football. If John would have came to me once, or if one of our other teammates would have come to me once and said, listen, lay off John. He's had enough of it. It's been too much. I would have been the first person not only to change myself, but to change people around me.
Football's got an image problem. Of course, the suspension of Miami Dolphin Richie Incognito for alleged bullying, you heard him defend himself in a Fox Sports interview before his NFL hearing was delayed last week. But also the sizable settlement for brain damage from the kind of on-field hits blamed by former star Brett Favre for his increasing memory loss. From substance abuse violations to high school football deaths to violence in general surrounding the sport among fans, with video of a male fan punching a female fan in the face played over and over.
None of this has affected ratings. The sport continues to draw massive audiences on the field and TV alike. But how long until people start to say no? And how does it look to the guys on the inside? To consider all that for your ears only, we're joined now by author Nicholas Dawidoff, who embedded with the New York Jets to chronicle a year in the life of an NFL team. His book is Collision Low Crossers, a year inside the turbulent world of NFL football, just out from Little Brown and Company. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
First, tell non-football fans what the title means, Collision Low Crossers.
Yeah, football has its own language, and I really like that about football, and I liked it in the title in the same way that I like films that tell you that there's a whole big world out there in something that you thought you knew about but don't, like Zero Dark 30 or Full Metal Jacket. Collision Low Crossers is a defensive term to describe players who are usually linebackers making legal contact with any potential pass receiver who's crossing the field within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Beyond 5 yards, collisioning someone becomes a penalty. And, you know, it's challenging to do this, to knock someone off course because they know where they're going and the defensive player doesn't. But I really like the term for lots of reasons. To me, it evokes the most basic elements of the game: speed, aggression, the interplay between space and time, plans that likely are not going to come to fruition in the essential calamity of football, which is to say that there's always somebody out there lurking, ready to ruin your life.
In the year you spent as an embed with the Jets, did you see any locker room bullying of the sort allegedly directed by Incognito against black rookie Jonathan Martin, or hear about it?
No, I saw, and subsequent to it, I've spoken with, some people who I came to know during my time in the NFL, and nobody has seen anything like that. I'll tell you, I saw lots and lots of teasing. I myself was frequently teased. I was pretty different. I was the guy who, for starters, I was a writer, and, but I also, it's an SUV world, and I drove a Mini Cooper at lunchtime. We would, I'd be sitting there with the coaches and sometimes players, and they big plates of things that were usually brown, and I ate a lot of beet salads, and I was teased a lot for that. And, they would text me pictures of beets when they saw them out in the world. And, when I would exercise, I wore a purple bandana sometimes, sweatbands. And I was teased for that too, to the extent that during the draft, the head of the draft looked at me and he said, Nikki, they're headband concerns. And all this is, it's fun, and I enjoyed it. And but the truth is that you can always tell with that sort of thing when the intention is affectionate or whether the intention is mean-spirited and it reflects some sort of, unpleasant power dynamic. And I saw tiny glimpses of things in that respect, but I never saw anything remotely of the severe and degrading nature of what happened in Miami.
Well, presuming that they come to some conclusion about what the intent and what was really done, what do you and any Jets with whom you've touched base think should be done about Incognito and the team coaches and officials supposedly in charge?
Rex Ryan, who is the coach of the Jets, is particularly good at, the real goal of an NFL coach and then the coaching staff is to create a unified sense of collective team endeavor among all these disparate people who come in. Many have been with previous teams or in college the year before. And you've got to take all these people and you've got to meld them into one single entity. That's really hard to do. And on the first day of training camp, Rex will stand up in front of his team, and he really is a magnificent motivator. These riffs that are so, and one of the first ones has to do with difference. And he'll get up in front of the team and he'll say, we've got all kinds of guys on this team. We've got fast guys, we've got slow guys, we've got, fat guys, we've got skinny guys, we've got handsome guys, we've got ugly guys. And it goes on and on and on. But it's always to say that you don't have to like everybody, but you've got to respect everybody. You have to be thick-skinned to play football. You have to have skin like an armadillo, is his phrase. But invariably, Rex was very, very protective of people who were more sensitive. And that's really what the Jet players who I've talked to can't believe, is that there weren't veterans on the Dolphins who weren't immediately stepping in and, didn't have the back of the person who is the younger person, the person who didn't have as much power in the offensive line room, who was being hazed.
The other big issue inside the NFL is what to do about brain injuries that result from all the poundings and groundings players undergo, prevention and financial aid when that fails. What did the players you spent so much time with think about that?
Unless I brought up the subject of concussions, in the world in which I walk, everywhere, when people heard about what this book was going to be, they all wanted immediately to talk about concussions. It's, as you know, and the subject of enormous national concern and urgency. Within the realm of a football team, nobody talks about it. And there are good reasons for that. You can't play professional football, which is a fast, dangerous sport, unless you are. Everybody's played football has felt fear, but when you walk onto that field, if you're worried about getting hurt, that's the quickest way to get hurt. You can't be thinking about anything other than trying to master the sport in the moment as well as you can. It is so fast, it is so violent, it is so reactive. And I would say that the coaches were the same way. Some of the old school coaches feel that football is getting too soft. I would say that really people feel that this is really the purview of health, medical and health authorities, and also just the league office.
Journalist and author Nicholas Dawidoff. His book, Collision Low Crossers, A Year Inside the Turbulent World of NFL Football, is just out from Little Brown and Company.
Quote from the news, "The absurdity and injustice just became too much." That was New York Yankees third baseman Alex Rodriguez after walking out of a hearing on his suspension for alleged use of performance-enhancing drugs when he learned that MLB Commissioner Bud Selig would not also have to testify.
Next, from the sound of music to Shakespeare in a minute, Brava Benanti, for your ears only.